Who do you want to know?
Can I just know who the tab G is?
Tab G. Timer will be Bhavani. She's online.
Yeah.
Then our counter is Udanka. I'll be the PB evaluator and Gramelian, you'll be the Gramelian.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. So we're good to go, right? Good evening, everyone. I'll quickly start off with the business session. As the VP of the club, I would like to make an announcement. Next week, one speed slot is taken by Toastmaster Prashant, and rest of the roles are open. Kindly interested members contact me. And parallelly, I would request everybody to open their feedback on Basecamp to give your valuable feedback to each and every member and so that they could improve. With that, I would close business session and hand over the charge to our sergeant, Toastmaster Vaishnavi. Over to you, Vaishnavi.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible and visible?
Vaishnavi, your audio is quite disturbed.
Am I audible now?
No, Vaishnavi, it's still a little disturbed. If you could log in from another device. Sai? Hey Sai, if she has more issues with her internet, could you just take over? We can just probably wait for another minute, but if not, you can, I think, should take over. Thank you. Vaishnavi, we still can't hear you and the audio is not clear. So for now, I'll just ask Sai to take over. That's not a problem. Sai, you can just take over.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Break away from confining definitions. I remember the story of an elephant being tied up when it was a smaller child, to a small tree. It never really tries to break away from itself, considering the fact that that is bound to itself forever. We are all bound to something the same way. Sometimes we try really hard and yet fail, and we never try again. Today morning, I was reading a fantastic story about a shark in a fish pond. There's a small shark which is put in an aquarium, along with it, small baits of small fishes, other fishes in it. But initially, the big shark eats up everything. So this man conducted the experiment for the second time. This time, he put a clear fiberglass in between the shark and the other fishes. The shark tries for the first time and it notices that it couldn't move beyond a point. It tries again. It fails. And with each attempt that it was trying to do, the aggression started coming down. Because it understood that there was nothing beyond that it could do. One day, when the man removed the glass, the shark never tried again, thinking that glass was still existing. We are all stuck in the same way. No matter what the situation is, we always have to move forward. With that, let me introduce to you the acting president for today, a fifth-year law student, the vice president education of our club. She's an extremely supportive person, and she runs things neck to neck every time, and she does a fantastic job. Please welcome the acting president for today, Toastmasters Purti, with a huge round of applause.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sai, for that last minute fix. Thank you for taking it over. Good evening once again. I think there are two guests in the offline meeting. I would request them to introduce themselves and tell us how they came to know about Toastmasters one by one.
There are more than two guests today, so I'll be asking everyone to come over here and let me know about you, how you came to know Toastmasters.
So, hello, I'm Satya. I'm from State and I was via Toastmasters find a club near you because I was looking for some place where I can do
Welcome to our club, and we're really glad to have you.
Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Ashok. So of course, I also live in Baswangudi. I run a wealth management conglomerate called Kautilya Group here in the same state, a little across the signal. I know Toastmasters for quite a long time. So in fact, I even thought of taking it as a profession. But immediately, once I started, my career focus got changed. I got into stock markets, which demanded my time. So I casually called Mr. Sandeep. Yeah, so I called Sandeep today because I just thought, why not push my son into that journey? So he's 12 years old, and I was told that only 18 years and plus to be allowed. I just casually got my wife, my son, and also my colleague Master here. Okay, so I know all about Toastmasters at a high level. It's an amazing experience. I know few of my ex-colleagues who are part of the clubs in Kormangala, Granagar, and so on. I am even aware that Mekon is running the Toastmasters here for quite a long time. But today was the auspicious day so that I could meet all of you and share the experience. Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
You finally made it to our club, so welcome.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Pooja. Before I tell you how I heard about Toastmasters, I'd just like to briefly introduce myself. I do event management for an education institution, and I'm a Kathak dancer, and I also teach Kathak. So this is about me. How I heard is Stuti happens to be one of my friends, and I also have a couple of friends who were in Toastmasters. So I think I wanted to explore that side of me where I could develop on a skill that I think is there, but I can get better. Also, I think my work is flexible enough to give me the space to improve my skill and up something that I think I'm good at. That's one reason, and the second is this is a kind of platform where people who come to improve themselves. So I think I want to be in an environment where everybody's trying to get better from their older version. So this is why I am looking forward to joining Toastmasters, and it's really lovely seeing all of you today. And
Thank you, Pooja. After so long, I'm so glad that you finally all made it to the Toastmasters Club.
Any guest left? I think hello everyone. My name is Master. Frankly speaking, I was not aware of this Toastmaster thing. So Ashok, my colleague, I was at the desk in this time. Need to be part of this Toastmaster. And on our way to this office, he kept on explaining, the wonderful things Toastmasters are doing, and so many people are getting benefited from their communication skills and everything. I'm happy to be part of this event for this evening. Thank you very much.
We welcome you, Bhaskar.
I'd like to mention Veerabhadra sir is a former member. Welcome back, sir. I'm hoping to see you back in Toastmasters once again. Any guest left? I'd like to comment on. She's a Toastmaster. She's a Toastmaster. That's it from offline audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gaurav. There's one thing I just missed to mention during the business session. We have our the district's 121 annual conference crescendo that's going to be held on 28th and 29th of May at JN Tata Auditorium in Bangalore. It's you can witness so many keynote speakers and witness contests, and you should be there to support them. Please do register for. Please do register. The link is mentioned on the group. Thank you. And with that, I open meeting number 1159. If everyone just accepted things as they were, then there would be no room for evolvement, improvement in this world. If Thomas Edison had shrugged and figured things as they were good with gas lamps and never invented bulbs or tube lights, today we would live in a world with no light, and it could have been an extremely dim place, literally. For instance, I want to narrate a small anecdote that happened 3 weeks ago. I was going on my casual run this one evening, and because I was on a run, I I happened to Google healthy cafes or healthy places to have like probably a smoothie near me, and it directed me to this one small road in Banshankari, and Google took me, and I finally managed to go there. I entered. It was such a small, cute cafe with a cozy ambience. I took the menu. I ordered for what I want. And the person who took my order was a one-armed person. I was quite awestruck with the entire surrounding there. Once he took my order and before it came, I observed my surrounding. It was only with people who had various disabilities, mental, physical, and psychiatric disabilities, who were working and running a cafe like any other normal cafe. I couldn't see any difference from how a normal Starbucks or a coffee day would run as opposed to this one. I was so awestruck that I definitely wanted to know who the brains behind this particular initiative was. Alina Alam, the founder and the CEO of this cafe called Mitti Cafe, she provides experiential training to persons with disabilities and a space for their productive to showcase their productive potentials. Today, she has over more than 13 cafes with 200 people working with them, and all of them are either intellectual, physical, or psychiatrically disabled. Since the pandemic, the employees with disabilities have cooked and served over 1.3 million meals to daily wage earners and the homeless. This has enabled them to serve the country while creating awareness of their own kind. With this thought of like Mitti Cafe, she also wanted to at her university study how she can embrace this part of the society. I was so awestruck with the entire thing. I, sitting in the cafe for just 30 minutes, understood the word development in such a different perspective. I feel it's including and embracing the empowering people with who belong to the vulnerable fractions of the society. And this was one of the most efficient way to do this is by enabling a means of livelihood which is both sustainable and allows them to live with dignity. With this thought, she wanted to create awareness for equal cause for equal opportunities in employment. Alina believes that compassion and courage are two weapons that could eradicate more problems that the world faces today. If you view things unchangeable, then nothing will ever change for the better. By thinking outside of the box, or I would say, from breaking away from your confining definitions and questioning the status quo, you'll constantly be considering how you could improve and experience a product or a service. This allows you to keep growing and can lead to intelligent and forward thinking decisions in your business. When I hear the word forward thinking, business, decisions, and product and service, there's this one person that comes to my mind. A person who tries to attain perfection in every task he's given, and who's going to talk more about today's theme. He is pursuing his paralegal studies through IGNO. He has been a cost accountant with TVS Group, agency electrical field, agency financial planning field, and from 2019 onwards, he is an estate and a succession planner. He's also a certified lay counselor. His hobbies include reading, meditation, and cooking. He is one of my very dear friends in this club. Please help me welcome the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra. So I apologize. Before that, can we have the minutes of the previous meeting from our secretary, Toastmaster Bhavani?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Spooty. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests present here. Here is the minutes of meeting number 1158, which was held on 18th of April 2022, with the theme Start Before You Are Ready, and the word of the week was erratic. The business session started at 6:35 p.m. and was chaired by our president, Toastmaster Ankita. In the business session, the following points were addressed. The Vice President Education mentioned that all the roles but MC and one speaker slot are open for the next meeting. The president requested the members to keep the base cap open to provide feedback to the speakers and the roll takers. The regular meeting started at 6:37 p.m. Acting Sergeant at Arms Toastmaster Shiv Prasad started the meeting with an introduction about the theme and later handed over the charge to the president, Toastmaster Ankita. The president then opened the meeting, spoke on the theme, and introduced the Master of Ceremonies, Toastmaster Pavani, who spoke on the theme and introduced the following role takers for the day. The timer, Distinguished Toastmaster Udanka, our counter, Distinguished Toastmaster A.K. Prabhakara, grammarian, Toastmaster Shiv Prasad, PP Evaluator, Toastmaster Gaurav. The prepared speech had the following had two speakers, Toastmaster Disha Puranik attempting her level 1 project to speech and was evaluated by Toastmaster Sai Snehal. Toastmaster Arijit attempting his level 3 project to speech and was evaluated by Toastmaster Spooty. The table topic session was conducted by Toastmaster Monish and had 10 speakers who were Toastmaster Vijay Upendra, Toastmaster Spooty, Toastmaster Shiv Prasad, Distinguished Toastmaster M.U. Bhatt, Toastmaster Balaji, Toastmaster Sai Snehal, Distinguished Toastmaster A.K. Prabhakara, Toastmaster Gaurav, Distinguished Toastmaster Udanka, and Arjun as a guest. The general evaluation session was conducted by Toastmaster Balaji, and the winners of the week were the best prepared speaker, Toastmaster Arijit, the best evaluator, Toastmaster Spooty, best table topic speaker and best role taker for Tab G, Distinguished Toastmaster A.K. Prabhakara, the best role taker, Toastmaster Balaji. The president closed the meeting at 8:31 p.m. This is my report as the secretary, and back to you, Toastmaster Spooty.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhavani, and my apologies for not mentioning this before. Over to our TMOD, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra.
Thank you, Spurti, for your wonderful introduction. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Confining definitions are detrimental to human growth. Complex is an obstacle in utilization of human potential. Good evening, Toastmasters, welcome guests. Since childhood, in the name of upbringing, parents, elders, teachers, and others thrust upon various restrictions on us. Because of this, we developed complex. What is complex? I define myself through an attribute in which I am not capable of doing a job or an activity. I don't have a capacity to execute anything that is given to me. Parents, elders, teachers, and others don't identify a positive attribute in us. So we develop confining definitions or limiting beliefs. We all live in circles: family circle, friends circle, relative circle, business circles, so many other circles. Wherever we don't get the motivation to grow, we are not in circles, but we are in a cage. No freedom of choice. How to transform them? Expand the definition of life by identifying alternate attribute. Sachin Tendulkar is not a successful captain. He changed his professional definition, identified his alternative attribute. He chose to be a player, team player. He has become a legend. So changing definitions are in our hands. One more example I would like to give, because I spoke about Sachin Tendulkar. We all come to the conclusion that only celebrities have got the ability. People like us, common people, what should they do? 4 days back, I was speaking to Spurti to know about trekking. I asked her a question. At the base level, when you start, you see the horizon and you scale up and reach the top. You see the same horizon. What is the difference? She said, at the base level, a normal view. At the top, panoramic view. What is the difference? One, physical effort. Second, psychological dimension. Physically, one has to put the effort. As she scales up, goes to the top, there is a psychological shift. Bandwidth of psychological perception changes. If we change the perception psychologically, we can identify our attributes so that we can bring the necessary changes. This is what we need to do. This is the method in which we may have to change ourselves from bad to good. To help people break away from confining definitions, with reference to communication, in the year 1924, Ralph C. Smedley founded Toastmasters at YMCA Santa Ana, California, which has got a worldwide presence. Presently, having more than 3 lakh members across 149 countries and has more than 15,800 member clubs. Typical Toastmaster meeting has 3 sessions. Prepared speech session, where the speaker is given time to prepare a speech on a subject of his choice, adherent to Pathways Manual. Second, the table topic session. This is to develop impromptu skills, where speakers are chosen randomly, given topic to which they have to respond immediately. Third is the evaluation session, where the speeches are and proceedings of the meeting will be evaluated by evaluators. To help me in conducting meeting, we have 4 auxiliary role takers and request them to explain their role. Timer, Bhavani Hemu.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests again. As a timer, it is my duty to record the timings by the role taker as well as the speaker. So for the prepared speech session, we have 1 icebreaker. The timing is 4 to 6 minutes. At 4 minutes, I'll be showing a green background. At 5th minute, I'll be showing an yellow background, and at 6th minute, it will be a red background. For the second speaker, it is 5 to 7 minutes, 5 minutes green, 6 minutes yellow, and 7 minutes red. During the table topic session, it is for 1 to 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I'll be showing the green background. At 1.5 minutes, the yellow background, and at 2 minutes, the red background. During the general evaluation session, the individual evaluator will have 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I'll be showing the green background. At 2.5 minutes, I'll be showing the yellow background, and at 3 minutes, I'll be showing the red background. I request everybody to be in time. With that, back to you, Toastmaster Vijay.
Good evening, everyone. Today I'll be making down the notes of ahs, ums, repeated words, and the crutch words used by the speaker behind the screen and behind the lectern. So I'll be giving my report during the general evaluation. Back to Master.
Ramarian Spurti.
Good evening once again. As the grammarian for the day, I would be noting down all the good usages and the bad usages of words during the meeting. The word of the day is adorn, which means making something more beautiful or attractive. And an example for its usage would be pictures and prints adorn his walls. I would encourage everybody to use the word of the day, and I would be giving my report at the end of the meeting during the general evaluation session. Thank you, and back to the Toastmaster of the day.
VP Evaluator size to everybody.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. There are certain rules and regulations which I want each and every one of you sitting here to adhere to. Although the theme for today's meeting is breaking away from confining definitions, I don't want you to break away from these. Firstly, kindly avoid talking about sex, religion, or politics. Keep yourself and your phones muted at all times, and enter and exit only during applause. I'll be giving my report during the general evaluation when called upon. Thank you.
Thank you all, role takers. Let us begin the first session, that is prepared speech. The speaker is attempting level 1, project 1. I request Dr. Arundhati Herle to read the project guidelines.
Good evening, my dear fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today's project purpose statement is, the purpose of this project is for the member to introduce herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. Good luck to my target speaker and back to PMO.
The speaker is an aspiring entrepreneur, passionate designer, and an avid reader, loves adventure. Help me to welcome first speaker of the evening, title being Dare to Experiment. Toastmaster Pavani onto the stage.
All life is an experiment. The more experiments we make, the better. Very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I joined Toastmasters to learn public speaking. But the irony is that I could speak even before I could walk, because I started walking at the age of 3. But since then, I always love to experimenting and figuring out things on my own, whether they are good or bad. I was the youngest in my family with a sister, parents, and grandparents. I was a social butterfly as a kid. I was roaming around all the streets around my village by Red Bell. I was one of the 80 students who got selected for Navodaya school out of 74,000 who wrote the entrance exam. Wasn't that a great achievement for a 10-year-old? I was elated to see the school on the top of a beautiful hill. It's still vivid in my memory how we were taught there. We were sitting in the woods on the boulders, and our art teacher was showing the beautiful evening sky and explaining about colors. I loved that school. I dared to go to Haryana as the part of student exchange program my 9th grade, but my parents refused. So I had to come back to my hometown and join the local high school. We all know how crucial the 10th grade is. Yes, my 10th grade is a memorable year for me. First one, I surprised everyone by being the topper of school. Second one, the blockbuster movie Rangila released that year. That changed my future. I was fascinated with the impactful costume designing by Manish Malhotra in that movie. That even Filmfare Awards had to introduce a new category for costume design. The designer's ability to create superstars was like alchemy to me. I decided I'll become a fashion designer. I have a question for you all. Is there anybody who did not study PUC? PUC or +2? Except that boy. I think everybody has been. I dare to experiment with my studies. I successfully bypassed PUC by taking up a diploma in photography. even though I want to pursue fashion design. Finally, I joined in my favorite subject, fashion designer. I did it pretty well. I was topper there also. But I was reluctant to take 9 to 5 job because my desire to start my own business was getting stronger. Meanwhile, I was proposed by Mr. Perfect. I loved his family. Things were going well. Unfortunately, the horoscopes didn't match. As usual, I dared to experiment. We got married. Next 5 years, we were blessed with 2 kids, 2 little daughters, and very little free time. In that little time, I read a book that completely changed the perception of my life till now. Inspired by the book and with the help of my well-wishers, I could able to start my own boutique t-shirt. It was not a cakewalk for me. When there is no plan B, definitely we feed the arts. That's how I was going here. I was fortunate enough to have amazing persons, powerful entrepreneurs, and real life heroic moms as my clients. They all inspire me every day to start the day with a purpose. My love for experimenting is the fuel for my professional success and my personal satisfaction. 12-year-long, thank God it's Monday routine, interrupted with COVID-19. The learning the hard way turned learning the soft way. I never used YouTube till then, sincerely. I admire that the influencers and the motivational speakers and I used to spend hours together in the lockdown. I used to watch Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins, Dan Lok, etc. In one of that video, Dan Lok was telling about Toastmaster stuff. I was interviewed by the idea that public speaking is a skill that we can develop. It's a learnable skill. So I was looking to where I can learn. Finally, I found Mekhan's Club very near to my place, and my desire to improve my competence led me here. Today, again, I dare to experiment by being vulnerable. Thank you. Thank you.
Portrayal of yourself is commendable. Fantastic speech. The second speaker is attempting level 1 project 4. I request individual evaluator DTM head to read the project guidelines.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and the speaker in particular. This is level 1 project 4. It's about introduction to vocal variety and body language, where the speaker is experimenting with the vocal variety and body language in his speech. The purpose statement says the purpose of this project is for the member to practice using vocal variety or body language to enhance the speech. There are certain notes to the evaluator. It says that the member will present a well-organized speech, obviously, and I will be watching to the members' awareness of their intentional and unintentional movements, and he is free to give a humorous or informational or any style of speech. And the idea for me is to assess how much you have learned as far as the body language and voice modulation. Time allowed 5 to 7 minutes. Back, all the best to the speaker, and back to Mr.
Second speaker is a BCom graduate from Jain College, currently pursuing US CPA, passionate about quizzing, world history, geography, and table tennis. With reference to theme of the day, he says, and I quote, "There is no doubt that I am here to break away from confining definitions. But there is a doubt whether my favorite IPL team can do the same," unquote. Help me to welcome second speaker of the day, title being Rental but Mental, Toastmaster Shiva.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, for that wonderful introduction. A very good evening to my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I'd like you to raise your hands if you have trust issues, difficulty trusting people, if you're often suspicious of others. Thank you. I'll let you know that it's the same with me also. So let me tell you all a story of when suspicion ruled the scene. This is the story of Varun, a 35-year-old man with a stable income and a stable life. And suddenly one day, unfortunately, his uncle passed away. And he left behind a massive fortune for Varun. So Varun was one day just going through the papers of succession documents, property papers, and he found out that he had become the owner of a lavish residential building in JP Nagar. This building had 5 houses in it, and each home paid 40,000 rupees per month as a rent. Now, Varun looked at this and he thought, we are charging too much, right? This is too much, and I'll have to reduce it. So he said, I am not like my greedy uncle. I will reduce the rent of all my tenants by 1/3, and all my tenants will bless me. So the next day, he calls up the building supervisor, Ranveer. And Ranveer is standing in front of him. He says, Ranveer, I want to reduce the rent. Please inform it to all the tenants. Now, Ranveer is not really paying attention when he said that, but he only hears rent. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Rent increase. How much, sir? 10%, 15%. Varun was calm. I repeat myself. I'm asking you to reduce the rent, not increase it. This time he heard him crystal clear. Sir, reduce, sir. What is wrong with you? What will the people think? Why, sir? Why are we doing this? Ranveer, I have made up my mind. My decision is final. Please go ahead and inform it to the tenants. Ranveer was hesitant, but he accepted the decision and he walked away, muttering to himself, if this dead uncle came to know about this, he will walk out of his grave and slap him. Anyway, he went back to the building and informed it to the tenants, your rent is reduced. Immediately, there was a commotion in the entire building. Nimdu reduce, sir. These tenants who had so far not even ventured to ask each other's names were engaged in a heated debate in the basement of the building. They were seated in a round table sort of manner, like how we are seated in this meeting, as if solving some murder mystery. One of the tenants started off. This Varun and Ranveer, I think some real screw loose case. I mean, which man in his right mind will let go of so much of revenues? Kuch to gadbad hai. Something is definitely wrong. Immediately, another tenant jumped in anxiously. He said, Ayla, I think the house is badly built. And Varun plans to burn it for the sake of insurance money. Immediately, a third tenant jumped in. Oh, yes. Last week, I heard the roof creaking. It was adorned with cracks. One day, sir, this roof, fan, everything will fall on me. We are all waiting to become Kima, sir. was when a fourth tenant, an elderly man, an Agatha Christie fan who was sitting quietly in the corner till now, walked up and decided to speak. This Varun, I think he's a heinous criminal. He has committed some crime and he plans to, and in remorse, in order to ease his guilt, he's planning to reduce our rent in the view of philanthropy. The tenants were shocked. Have we been living under a criminal for so long? Sir, you are right, sir, they said, and the meeting concluded there with negativity bubbling in all of their minds. And then it started. Some of the tenants complained of hearing frightful noises from somewhere on the third floor, on the second floor. And then some of them started having nightmares. They could not sleep at night. And then the same elderly man claimed to be swore to be spotting Varun's dead uncle's ghost. Now, how did he know it was Varun's dead uncle that ghost had a rent receipt? This ghost story was the trigger point, and people decided we can't live here anymore. One by one, they started handing in their notices to vacate the building to Varun, and with each notice that Varun received, his disbelief increased tenfold. The poor man, all he wanted to do was help those tenants, and it had had the opposite effect because of extreme suspicion. My fellow Toastmasters and guests, children are happier as compared to adults because they trust easily, they trust more than us, while we are often suspicious of what others are thinking, what they are doing. Of course, I'm not asking you to trust people with your ATM PIN, but trust me, trust in relationships, trust in family matters is the most vital thing in life. And as the Irish author Ian Gibson said, a suspicious mind will see evidence of poison wherever it looks. Over to you, Master Sir.
Rent is related to money, logic. Mind is related to emotion. We take decisions emotionally, repent logically. You have brought it very nicely. With this, we come to an end of first session. Let us jump into the most exciting session of the evening, table topic session. Our table topic master for the day is working as a lecturer in computer science at VVMPU College. Explores new things and she is fun-loving. Hobbies, cooking, reading, and listening to inspirational speeches. Aspire to become good communicator. With reference to the theme of the day, she says, and I quote, I was confined to negative thoughts thrust by negative people, and I am trying to break away these negative thoughts to emerge as a positive person, unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome table topic master of the day, Toastmaster Rashmi, onto the virtual stage, please.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Toastmaster of the day, Vijay Upendra sir. Good evening, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. Table topic is most exciting and fun part of our Toastmasters meeting. Table topics is a long-lasting Toastmaster tradition intended to help the members to develop their ability to organize their thoughts quickly and respond to an impromptu question or a topic. So taking on this role improves speakers' confidence and impromptu speaking skills. I will call the members randomly and given 2 minutes to speak on the particular topic. So without much delay, can we get started with the table topic session? Are you all ready? Yes. For the first topic, I would like to call Toastmaster Ujjwal. Are you available?
Yes, Rashmi. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What beliefs are holding you back from progress and which ones are helping you? I repeat, what beliefs are holding you back from progress and which ones are helping you?
A very happy evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests. Thank you, Table Topic Master, for giving me this topic. Well, which are the beliefs which are holding me back and which are the thoughts or the beliefs which helping me? So if I have to say, the teachings or the learnings from our role models or from our parents, the teachings which they teach us, it is personally helping me a lot to progress in my career. I mean, in my career as well as in studies as well. And what I feel is, if we think as the belief, there are some beliefs which are holding us back. If we feel so, there will be n number of reasons for it. So instead, what I will do is, the things which are making me holding back, I will try to, as much as possible, I will try to remove it from my head, so that it will not be an obstacle in my career. So rather, keeping it in mind, and which will hold my career, rather I will remove it from my mind and start looking into the teachings which I am learning from our role models or our parents. Yeah, so this is my take on this topic. Thank you, and over to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ujjwal, for your wonderful response. So next we will go to the next topic. Do you believe in networking and connections to learn from peers and mentors? I repeat, do you believe in networking and connections to learn from peers and mentors? For this topic, I would like to call Toastmaster Zuleka.
Absolutely, that's the reason I'm back here. Okay, I absolutely believe like Toastmaster is the best example for it. Here we support each other. This is the only platform which I found, where we support each other to grow forward, and we don't backbite or demotivate anybody here from growing. Everyone is trying to upload our teachings, no matter what it is. We always encourage to develop. So this is one of the best platform. And coming to skills, yes, skill learning is the best learning. As a teacher, I know how it is very supportive. Sometimes children learn from teachers. Okay, that is fine. But when it is coming with a peer, they're very open. They're not hesitant to ask and learn even the smallest stuff. Okay, so peer learning is the best learning, and also connection and networking. Networking, it is. Those days are different, where people believe hard working was working. And then came an era where smart working was most talked about. And now it's the time where networking is very important. Wherever is network, including internet, we are so connected. Network is the most important part to keep
get influenced, whatever it is. Your work will be done with much ease when you have network. Just a phone call away, your job is done. So networking is also very important. All those topics that the things mentioned here are very important. Peer learning and networking and the ability of learning is very important. So as I'm a learner, I never want to give up on anything. So back again, though I sometimes step back due to some other personal commitments and all that, but I always push myself to learn. So here I have come back to learn more and wishing all of you to give great support. Thank you.
That was a vivid response, Toastmaster Zuleka. Thank you very much for your response. So moving on to the next topic. What lifts your spirits when life gets you down? I repeat, what lifts your spirits when life gets you down? For this topic, I would like to call our former member, Toastmaster Veerabhadrappa.
Before I start something, I would like to thank all of you for having come here and seen all of you all these things. The subject is what fits your spirit. Really, I have a courage, I have a conviction, I have a confidence, I have a desire, I have a direction, I have a dedication. These are the things which makes you to go. Never in my life I see in a reactive way. Always I go in a positive, proactive way. Whatever the work comes, I said I will do it. But in many cases, people say, "Arey Baba, we have to go and meet the IAS officer, and it is not easy to get the job done." Moreover, if you want to get the job done, you have to reach the farm. Nothing doing it. I go there and tell them, "I'm so and so. I'm running an industry. I'm feeding 250 people. I'm doing society cause. Kindly help us." That is the spirit I get. Whenever the factory goes down, I speak to my employees. Let's come there. Let's get up. Have a spirit, have a positive note. You can do something. You can do it. You have done it. We have run this unit for 45 years. Due to Corona, it is coming down. Don't worry. We can do that one. That is what spirits. What lets me down? One thing which let me down in my house, my home minister. Very, what I say something, I feel the honorable lady sitting here should not feel bad about my word. My views and my wife's are diametrically opposite to that one. I don't know why that one. Is it a character of those persons or character of wrong thing by this thing? I always nothing to worry. I don't condemn, criticize, complain. I encourage those people. This is really against them. So, my dear friends, have a confidence in you, have a spirit in you. You can achieve it and have a nice thing, not a bad thing. Keeping bad thing in your mind and trying to achieve that one definitely will not achieve, my dear friends. Keep your mind with peace, comfort, joy, and happiness. Never get on with your enemies. Expect a positive note from you. Count your blessings, not your troubles. Always have your own thing, have your own spirit. May God bless you.
That was a splendid and eloquent response. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Veerabhadrappa, for your response. Next, we will move on to the next topic. What experiences improved your self-confidence? What experiences improved your self-confidence? For this topic, I would like to call the guest Pooja.
I think when I started my career, I started with a corporate job. It had more link to my skill set or my strength, which So when I started, I remember feeling extremely weighed up because all my strength and all my priorities and what I was at the time was going nowhere. So I was doing a 9 to 7 job, and the travel was so intense. And I think that was a point where I lost interest in life. Like I would just get up, do work, come back so tired that I just wanted to go to bed. So I think this particular experience that I had, I think what helped was that I understood that if this is how I'm going to live, I'm definitely going to just exist, but not live. So I think this experience allowed me to break from what I was doing on a daily basis. So I took a year off. I really tried to think that is this what I want, and is this what I want my next few years to be like. So taking that 1 year off, I think in a way, because of COVID also, it was quite risky first thing, because I didn't know where I was going with my career. I didn't know if I'd get a job again. I didn't know where I was going with my dance. So it was just a year where I was just left clueless. So this experience, I think, it was very valuable because it made me reflect on whether I would go back to something secure or whether I would take the risk and be happy at the end of it. So I think because of that break, I was able to find the role that I'm in currently, wherein my day is super flexible, something that I really love, something that I'm very good at doing, and also enough time to fuel my passion, which I think really satisfies my soul. So I think for me, this was this break here with that experience that has given me so much self-confidence that I know that if I take another year off in the future, I'll come back stronger. So this is
Thank you very much, Pooja, for your wonderful response. So the next topic is, how much research do you do on the animals before you go to the photograph them? How much research do you do on the animals before you go to photograph them for the first time? For this topic, I would like to call our DTM Toastmaster Udanka.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. When this particular topic was displayed, the entire room, most of them who know me was saying it's you, it's you. So yeah, I got to know the contents that even that would be me. So what amount of research I'll be doing? So while I'm going on a photography for a wildlife, for a particular animal to capture, I'll be just looking at their habit, where they would go, what time they rest, for what they rest, why they rest. And after the rest, what will be the next move? What will be the track? How will they surround people? Or how will they go their routine works? With this information, what will happen, it will be easy for me to set up my cameras where I can get good pictures. So if you say I did not do any research regarding this like this and just go start photography in wildlife, I might not able to capture a perfect picture. So these are the prerequisites what we require in a wildlife. First, we need to know the habitat of the animal, what they do, how they do, and everything, each and every movement we should be knowing. Just like how we know what our next move is, we should be knowing what the next, we should be able to guess what the next move is. So with that, what happens, we'll be able to capture the right pictures. This is not only by me, most of the wildlife life photographers will do. So with that, back to you, table master.
Thank you very much, BTM Udanka. This is the information is very helpful for those who are aspiring to become wildlife photographers. So moving on to the next topic. If you find yourself stuck doing repetitive work, how do you motivate yourself to continue and complete it? I repeat the topic. If you find yourself stuck doing repetitive work, how do you motivate yourself to continue and complete it? For this topic, I would like to call one more guest, Sanjana. Thank you, Sanjana, for your response. We will move to the next topic. Can you name a person who has had a tremendous impact on you as a leader? I repeat the topic. Can you name a person who has a tremendous impact on you as a leader? For this topic, I would like to invite Toastmaster Gaurav.
Good evening to all the Toastmasters and all the guests present today. The one person that comes to my mind when I think of a leader is my mother, because she's not just a mother, she's my best friend, she's like a sibling, she's like a friend, and she's like always been a leader to me. If I don't have anybody to hang out, I always call my mother and we go out, have some drinks, we always hang out, and they always been to me as a friend. And I call her as a leader because there was one point in my life that I was completely shut down. I was not knowing what to do next. It was during my third year BCom when my placement started. I had an aim of joining into 4 big companies, that is KPMG, PwC, and Deloitte. In any of these 4. First came KPMG, which was like a trial round for me. I just sat for the interview. I couldn't clear. Then my mom said, it's fine, nothing to worry. It's just the first company, you have 3 more. Then came Ernst & Young, which is called as EY. I sat for that. Again, I went till the last round. I didn't complete it. I couldn't clear. And I was rejected. Then I started thinking, am I doing something wrong? Is something terrible happening to me? Then my mom said, nothing to worry. You have still 2 more left. Then Deloitte came. I couldn't even clear the entrance exam. It was so tough. I couldn't even clear the first round. Then my mom said, it's okay. Now there is PwC left. Nothing to worry. Even though your aim is Big 4, just sit for any other company and see, like, you gain more experience. I sat for 20 more companies, then I got rejected in all the 20. Then I started to worry as to how is my only chance to take care of my dad's business. That's my only hope, or else sit for MBA like other students and start working on CAT exam, GMAT, whatsoever. Then came PwC. My mom said, forget all the companies that got rejected, nothing to worry. Think it's the first time you're sitting for this interview and go for it. And I got placed in PwC, which is one of my dream companies to be working for. So if I have any issues, if I'm stuck somewhere, the only person I can go out and tell is my mother. Let it be relationship issues, any issues that I have in my life. She's one of the greatest leaders, one of the best friends that I ever had. Thank you, and back to the table.
That was an inimitable response, Toastmaster Gaurav. Thank you so much for your response. For the next topic, what is the most important risk you took and why? What is the most, sorry, it should be which is the most important risk you took and why? For this topic, I would like to call DTM MU Bhatt. You're on mute.
Sir, you're still on mute.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Madam Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. The question asked is what's the most important you took and why? Honestly, I dread taking risks in my life. I'm an easygoing person. Whatever easiest path to take, I'd rather take it and don't take risks. Even when I selected engineering as my profession, It is just by choice, not by exact choice, because everybody took it. I also took it. I was the topper in the university, so you are the engineering is the right place for it. You have to be an engineer. I didn't know what risk it was. Only when joining, after when I joined the NITK Surat, then I realized what a risk I've taken. Honest, because the kind of catchword in our college was engineer's mission is submission. Because day in and day out, you will have to do some other submission, either some drawing, some assignment, some project, all day. And many times I have to keep awake even up to night, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So there is, I was thinking, what kind of risk I've taken just by listening to somebody that you want to be an engineer. But then, all you can tell is the 5 years in NITK, the risk was taken, so-called risk, whatever people perceive, was worth. Because I have developed into a person with so much, with all people from all around the country, from different states, different cultures, and working hard, assignments, projects, all the time, completing my mission of submission. So that made me a good engineer, and I ended up joining Mecon Limited as a graduate management trainee. And the rest, I had a very successful stint as an engineer for last 40 odd years, and actually successful. And one risk or so-called risk, whatever I taken to become an engineer, was worthwhile any time you take. Just what my take on that. With you, back to Madam Topic Master.
That was very wonderful response. Thank you very much, DTM MU Bhatt sir. So I would like to call for the last topic. This is the last topic. If you could choose one book as a mandatory read for all students, which book would you choose? I repeat, if you could choose one book as a mandatory read for all students, which book would you choose? For this topic, I would like to call Toastmaster Arundhati Herale ma'am.
My dear fellow Toastmasters and guests, if I choose one book for students, which book would I choose? Right now, at this point of moment, I remember one book by Dr. Gururaj Karajagi, that is Karunalu Babelake in Kannada. It is a compilation of 100 articles which are really inspiring. During these days, one thing I always worry about students is if they are faced with some challenge, or if they're faced with some stress, they tend to give up. And according to the studies, the suicide rates are also going up. In this book, there are so many inspirational stories, and practically how to handle those challenges is well mentioned, and they're all practical experiences. He has mentioned about our own poets, scientists, and his own stories, his experiences in our country as well as abroad. If you read those, you will definitely get a lot of insights, and they're very simple to understand and very practical. I want to choose this book as a mandate for students to improve their life skills, especially because about the knowledge, about the intelligence, about the facilities, about the comforts, students do not have any problem. Only about the life skills and problem solving skills are deficient. I'm very sure this book will help, especially when they're exposed to this type of experiences in their 9th and 10th standards. Definitely it will make a lot of difference in their lives. Thank you, and back to you.
That was a very wonderful response, Toastmaster Arundhati Herale ma'am. Thank you everyone for your active participation. I hope all of you had a nice time. With this, I'm handing over the charge to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra. Thank you very much.
Diverse table topics I enjoyed thoroughly. We will now have a short break of 10 minutes. Now the time is 7:51. So 8 o'clock we can be back. Welcome back after a break. We come to the final session of the day, the evaluation session. Today's general evaluator is a science graduate and actively involved with an NGO, Innerwheel, for the last 15 years. Innerwheel is the world's largest women's voluntary service organization. She led the Innerwheel district as the district chairman in 2019 and 20. In Mekong, she served as Sergeant at Arms, Secretary, and Associate VPPR earlier. She is managing a gravel club for children. She is fond of traveling, reading, and yoga. Her view on theme, I quote, as women, we are supposed to conform to certain acceptable conventions or standards. It might not be possible everyone to manage this. It is okay to be different and do what makes you happy, unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome General Evaluator of the Day, Toastmaster Lalna, with a big round of applause onto the stage.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. Positive feedback is very important. Thanks to Toastmaster International for this concept of feedback, which is what this general evaluation is all about. As a general evaluator, I'll be reflecting on the proceedings of the meeting with the help of the role takers and the evaluators. I'll straight away start with the evaluation of the meeting as a whole. The meeting started at 6:35 p.m., which was pretty much on time. The business session was crisp, and PPE Toastmaster Spooty gave the update on the role takers and speakers for the next meeting. And she also requested the members to submit their feedback on Basecamp at the Toastmasters International website. She also had an announcement about the division conference that is coming up. And actually, Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Vaishnavi was supposed to start the meeting. Due to technological disruptions, she could not make it. And kudos to Toastmaster Sai Snehal for taking up at the last minute. And as always, he's ready to step up and take any role. And he did a very good job of it, I should say. In fact, he gave an excellent theme, though he took it on at the last minute by giving the examples of the elephant, which was tied to a small tree, and the shark in the fish pond. We all know about this, but then he could kind of relate to it immediately and speak on it. That is the beauty of Sai Snehal. He's always there for Mekong. And his introduction of the president was also done very well. So can we have a big round of applause for Sai Snehal? Coming to the president's address, acting president Spooty started with the guest introductions. And of course, the secretary's report was read out later after the MC's introduction. Toastmaster Spooty is very confident and has evolved into an excellent speaker over time. She has stepped into the president's role today effortlessly, and she made it look so easy. And she connected to the theme beautifully by starting off and saying that if Thomas Edison hadn't invented the bulb, probably we would all be living with lamps even today. And the anecdote of her visit to Mitti Cafe was also very appropriate to explain the theme. I could completely relate to this as I have visited this place. And I like the way she said, compassion is courage, and how thinking out of the box and questioning the status quo will break the barriers and help us to move forward in life. Her introduction of the MC was also very good. And in fact, she wove it around the theme and went around to introduce the MC as well, which was done very nicely. So let's have a huge round of applause for Toastmasters Spooty, please. We'll now have the evaluations of the speeches. The first speaker was Toastmaster Pavani. Can I request the individual evaluator, Toastmaster Dr. Arundhati, to evaluate the speech?
Good evening once again, my dear fellow Toastmasters and Toastmaster Pavani in particular. I would like to welcome, congratulate and thank Toastmaster Pavani. Welcome on board on behalf of MCC. Congratulations for taking great courage, walk up to the stage and delivering a great speech. And thank you for letting us know about you. I would like to evaluate your speech under two headings, what went well and the areas to improve upon. The objectives of this speech to introduce yourself were totally fulfilled. Now we know who you are. You are a lucky, bright student who could study in Navodaya school amidst nature. You are a topper in 10th grade. You are a multifaceted person who is qualified in both fashion designing and hotel management. And you are a happily married lady with two beautiful daughters. And the interest in Toastmasters and the desire to grow in life has brought you here. What I loved most was the enthusiasm and smile which you exhibited throughout your speech and the sense of humor. Actually, your speech was adorned with little pearls of humor, like you learned talking before walking, and you are a fit person to be here in Toastmasters. And finding Mr. Perfect was another example. It never appeared to me as icebreakers. It was like as though you smashed ice through your narration and taking us along your life journey. Every speech can be made better. In this direction, I have few suggestions. In this project, we expect introduction of parents and sister, especially Mr. Perfect. I feel that would have added extra flavor to your speech. And during the speech, as you went on, at times, the intensity used to fade off by the end of the sentences, and I used to find it difficult to grasp. Probably this, if possible, if this gets corrected, the impact will be better. However, it doesn't dent the impact of your speech. I thoroughly enjoyed, and I really was inspired by your life journey. Thank you and congratulations. Once again, I wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. We would like to see you more often behind the lectern. And thank you, and back to you, G.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dr. Arundhati, for that very encouraging evaluation, as it was the icebreaker of the speaker. You highlighted the positive aspects of the speaker very well, and you also commended the speaker on starting her journey in Toastmasters, and also welcomed her to the Toastmasters fraternity and to our Mekon Communication Club in particular. Your suggestion of suggesting her to, maybe she could have given the introductions of her family, was appropriate. As icebreaker, as we have an acronym given by our DTM AK Prabhakara. It says FIP, FIP, that is family, interests, and profession. So you also have to speak about your family in the icebreaker. Of course, now it is done. Maybe it is for the newer Toastmasters who are aspiring to join us. So can we have a round of applause for both the evaluator and the speaker? The second speech was by Toastmaster Shiva Prasad. Can I request DTM MUBAT to evaluate the speech?
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and Toastmaster Shiva in particular. Let me first congratulate you, Shiva, on completing your level 1 in style. What an amazing speech. This is one of the most perfect speeches what I have seen for a long time, with an excellent organization, with a powerful opening, with a rhetorical question, whether you are a believe everybody without thinking. And you concluded powerfully with a Gibson statement regarding that a suspicious mind always puts things with suspicion. That came out so very well, powerfully. And in between, you weaved up a beautiful story of Varun's inheritance of a property. What enabled you? And here, the Shiva, one thing, let me tell you, you have got three basic strengths. What I observed you, not now, even for the earlier speeches. You have got a powerful voice, very powerful voice, something like Amitabh Bachchan's. Really, it's a real great asset. And you have got a comfort level behind lecture. What I'm finding every time I come behind lecture. And you have got a natural sense of humor. These are the three strengths what you operate from. And this strength as a background, you experimented with the objective of this speech, that is voice modulation and body language. How did you fare in that? What are your strengths? Where did you improve it? So one thing I like this was you selected the story appropriately, because that enabled you to use that body language and voice modulation very effectively. And you did it to real effect. Particularly vocal variety when it came, whether it's the pitch, the level of what you used, you experimented, and you used various characters, the tenants in fact, and even that Varun and that Ranveer, with each kind of his own special speech mannerism, which you brought about. That enabled you to use your speech, pitch and tone, and also volume. But yes, about the pace, I'll come to you sometime later. As far as the body language is concerned, your posture, the way stand, you got a natural stand, so the posture is perfectly acceptable. Your position also was okay. Two areas which, and your eye contact was excellent. Absolutely, very nicely done. Only two things where you can take the speech to a higher level, what I found was about the movement. Your gestures were very well. You gave a powerful speech, and the story came out so very well. And your gestures were from the same position. You took a position, took a posture, the confident posture what you have. You could probably experiment with some movement as a part of the story. Then you are describing different characters, and then that gives that with your kind of comfort level behind lecture, you can do an amazing job with that. That's what I personally believe, and that's one thing which I find to experiment with. Otherwise, it was an excellent speech. There is nothing more I can add in that. Very engaging story, particularly the humorous part of it, like that Agatha Christie fan creating about heinous crime and all brought about, and everybody falls into the trap of looking at suspicion, and about that ATM pin. That sense of humor. It all came out so well. All in all, it's one of the finest speeches I've heard. And your speech has always been like a more a performance than anything else. And this performance can always be taken to a high level by experimenting with movements and all that. You can become really a state performer. Congratulations, take up your next project as early as possible. And with that, back to you, Madam.
Thank you, DTM Evaluator, for that textbook evaluation, I should say, as always. You touched on all the positive aspects of the speaker, such as the opening, body, and conclusion. It was with an excellent quote. You rightly highlighted the strengths of the speaker, his powerful voice, his comfortable way of speaking, and the story which was appropriate to fulfill the guidelines of the speech as well. Your recommendations to the speaker to include some movement in his speech, maybe which would have taken his speech to the next level, was quite appropriate. So excellent evaluation and the speaker's speech also. Can we have a round of applause for both the evaluator and the speaker? I now request the members to vote for the speakers and the role takers and the evaluators. I think the ballot has been sent. We'll now have the reports of the role takers. I request timer Bhavani to give her report as the timer.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, Toastmaster Lalna. Here is my report as the timer. The business session, the meeting started at 6:36 p.m. The business session took around 53 seconds. The acting sergeant at arms Toastmasters Sai Nihal took around 3 minutes 24 seconds. Acting president Toastmasters Purti 8 minutes 38 seconds. Toastmaster of the day Toastmaster Vijay Upendra overall took 15 minutes 38 seconds. The first speaker Toastmaster Pavani was overshot by only 10 seconds, and the second speaker was well within time. And the table topic session was entirely for 26 minutes 36 seconds with 9 speakers. The table topic speakers can see their timings on the screen. The members who are marked in red have overshot time, and the members in yellow have 10 or 20 more seconds which you can utilize to speak. And the break time was overshot by 2.5 minutes. The first individual evaluator, Toastmaster Arundhati ma'am, took 2 minutes 29 seconds. The second individual evaluator took 3 minutes 13 seconds, and the general evaluation so far is for 14 minutes 29 seconds. This is my timer's report, and back to your general evaluator, Toastmaster Lalana.
Ma'am, we can't hear you. I think we just have to unmute.
Thank you for that excellent report, Toastmaster Bhavani. And you also presented it for everybody to see that, and they could see their table topic timings as well. That was, I'm sure it was very helpful for everyone, and even for people who have overshot their time. So thank you once again. I now request DTM Udanka to give his report as the R counter.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening once again. Acting Sergeant at Arms Toastmaster Sai had 2 hours. Acting President Toastmaster Purti had 3 hours. Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra had 3 hours and 1 pause. Timer, Toastmaster Bhavani had 2 hours and 1 unwanted pause. Our counter, myself, DTM Udanka, had no hours while using. Speaker 1, Toastmaster Pavani had 3 hours, 1 repeated word I and 1 pause. Evaluator 1, Toastmaster Arundhati had 2 hours and 1 pause. Toastmaster Shiva had 2 hours and 1 pause. Evaluator 2, DTM Amiward had 2 hours and 2 pauses. In table topic session, Toastmaster Ujjwal had 2 hours, 2 pauses and 1 repeated word ya. Speaker 2, Toastmaster Zuleika had 2 hours. Myself, DTM Udanka had 2 hours, Toastmaster Gaurav had 2 hours, and DTM Amiward had 1 hour. Toastmaster Arundhati had 1 pause. General Evaluator Toastmaster Lalana Murthy has 3 hours and 1 pause so far. Thank you, and back to you now.
Thank you for that excellent report, DTM Udanka. I now request grammarian Toastmaster Purti to give her report as the grammarian.
Good evening once again. We've had plenty of good usages today, and there would be psychological shift, elated, vivid, impactful, enhance, ventured, remorse, vital, eloquent, dread, deficient, multifaceted, and endeavors. The not so good usages were courage, could have just been courage, and evolving could have just been evolving or evolve. Photographying could have been photography, and one common not so good usage is that we come across is help me to welcome. Can we correct it to help me welcome or welcome? These were the only not so good usages. The word of the week was used by 2 members, Toastmaster Shiva and Toastmaster Arundhati ma'am. I hope I haven't missed out on anybody else. With that, I end my report as a grammarian, and back to the general evaluator, Toastmaster Lalana.
you, Toastmaster Spooty, for that excellent report and stepping in to take the role of the grammarian as well. I have one suggestion. Like now, when you gave your report, you said good usages and not so good usages. However, during the introduction, as your role as a grammarian, you said good usages and bad usages. Maybe that could have been avoided. But for that, it was an excellent report. I now request Parliamentary Procedure Evaluator Toastmaster Sai Snehal to give his report.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I don't have a fancy report like what Bhavani presented, or do I have a record of what happened. But I do believe in observation is the key, and that's what I did throughout the meeting today. There was no talk about sex, religion, or politics. Of course, although there was one phone ring in between the meeting, which kind of disturbed the online audience because they just kept silent. And another disturbance was members were seen walking throughout the meeting room, that which could have been avoided or waited for an applause when they can walk around, and that's when you can do it. Apart from that, most of the members in the online audience had the video on today. This is the first time I've been witnessing the same. Apart from that, it was a very smooth meeting. Thank you, and back to Jennifer.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sai Snehal, for your report as the PPE. I know it's a challenge. We have to watch both the online and the offline meeting proceedings as well. So can we have a round of applause for all the role takers to ensure that the meetings go on effectively week after week? Now, coming to the table topic master, Toastmaster Rashmi, she has come a long way. I remember evaluating her when she took her first role in a Toastmasters meeting. And of course, I have also not been very regular. So she has completely evolved and she did a wonderful job today. She started off by explaining the purpose of the table topics. And her topics were also very thought-provoking. And a couple of them were also related to the theme is what I felt. And our members also gave wonderful responses to all the topics. So wonderful session, Toastmaster Rashmi. Can we have a big round of applause for her, please? Now coming to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra. At the outset, let me compliment Toastmaster Vijay Upendra on this thought-provoking theme, I should say. As we saw, all the speakers had very different perspectives on the theme, and we had a lot of takeaways as well, starting from the elephant story, the fish pond, and so many other things. And of course, our acting president's take by describing about Pitti Cafe was really inspiring. So wonderful selection of the theme, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra. He started off by stating that confining definitions is detrimental to human growth. And he also explained how we as children are often subjected with various restrictions which make us develop a complex, in fact, a negative complex, I should say. And our own attributes are also discouraged sometimes, and we are not given the freedom of choice. He also gave the example of Sachin Tendulkar, who overcame all this by taking a different route. He did not continue to pursue his studies, which maybe he was not very good at. And finally, he summed up by saying that the confining definitions are completely in our hands, and it is possible to change our psychological perceptions to bring the necessary changes. His transition from the theme to the history of Toastmasters was done very well. He also connected it to the theme. Then he also explained about the meeting structure of Toastmasters, and the introduction of the role takers was also done well. Especially when we have guests attending our meeting, it's very important to speak about the history of Toastmasters and the structure of the meeting. It was done very well. And as we have observed, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra is a seasoned Toastmaster. is very regular, passionate Toastmaster, I should say, and always steps in to take up roles every week, whether some of us may or may not come, but I think he's one constant fixture in our MECON meetings. And due to his experience, his varied experiences, I should say, in his business as well as professional life, that is reflected in his responses and his talks as well. He wove the meeting together effortlessly and had all the introductions in place as well as the speaker's perception of the theme. He made an effort to get their take on the theme as well, and all of us had different takes. Like I said earlier, it was wonderful to listen to everybody's take on the theme as well. The meeting went on very well. Wonderful job, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra. So can we have a thunderous round of applause for Toastmaster Vijay? Overall, it was a great meeting, adorned with good speeches, wonderful table topics, and perfect evaluations. With that, I would like to hand over the charge back to Toastmaster Vijay Upendra.
Very highly educative evaluation, I can say. I learned a lot from your evaluation. Thank you for that. We all have joined Toastmasters to break away from confining definitions, especially with reference to communication skills. Today, we have learned a lot. It is a wonderful meeting today. I learned a lot. With this, I would like to hand over charge back to Acting President, Toastmasters Spurti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra. Indeed, like how our general evaluator conducted the session so seamlessly, so naturally. I love the way she's so how she's so comfortable behind the lectern, and truly that was a complete textbook evaluation, ma'am. Like Vijay Upendra sir said, we all learned a lot. And coming to the theme of the day, I still remember Toastmaster Vijay Upendra telling me about the theme. And then I said, "Sir, do you think everybody will understand? Don't you think it's a little complex?" But the way the entire thing panned out was so good. It was so thought provoking and so rich in content. And indeed, it was a great meeting. It was so happy to see our former members back with so many guests, an icebreaker speech, and a level completion. What a fulfilling meeting today. I I want to mention. I want to just reiterate on the fact of the base camp. Feedback on the base camp. I hope people, all of you are giving your feedback on the base camp. Base camp does not exactly give you a notification. So once you drop in a feedback, I request you to just go that one step and message the person if you've given the feedback. Tomorrow we are going to have the YouTube video on the MECONs group. So people who want to watch themselves speak or watch anybody else's speech, I think you should go ahead and do that, which will also help you give a feedback to members. And with that, there's one more mishap that happened. I did not take your consent if there were no amendments to the previous meeting's MOM. So I hope there are no changes to the MOM from the previous meeting. With that, let's come to the most awaited part of it, which is the results. The best major role taker goes to the person who seamlessly conducted the general evaluation, to Toastmaster Lalana Murthy. The best Tab G role goes to the person who so organizedly showed us the timers role, Toastmaster Bhavani Hemant. The best evaluator goes to the person who we all call the humor king of MECON Communication Club, TTM MU Vatsa. The best table topic goes to one former member who just came today like a smack, Toastmaster Veerabhadrappa. And finally, the best speaker for the day goes to the person who spoke about how rentals can become mental, can drive a person mental, Toastmaster Shivaprasad Sharma. With that, I conclude the meeting for today. Congratulations to every winner. Like I said, it was a completely fulfilling meeting. I close meeting number 1159, and I would request everybody to raise for national anthem. Thank you and good night.